Like many of you, I started out in leather laced-up boots. They were cold, offered little support, the laces would get icy, and it was nearly impossible to keep the snow from piling in on your ankles. And footbeds, I hadn't even heard of them till I was well into my teens. Then came plastic boots. The first ones, different shapes and forms, the Scott boot. Then along came Hansen with the wax-injected liners. And everybody remember the knee-high boots? That was crazy. While the industry was experimenting with plastics, one man, an Australian pentathlete who went to Sweden to study product design, became focused on performance. Sven Coomer first ventured into high performance came when he helped develop the running spike cleat for Puma. His passion for snow led him back to skiing and ski boots. His high-performance leather ski boots topped the podium in the '72 Olympics. Then came the big impacts when he started revolutionizing liners and footbeds. For Nordica, he helped design the famous banana boot, and of course, the Nordica Comp. His impact on designs are still felt today for Head and San Marco and others. His work with Superfeet helped perfect the injected liners, which eventually started his company, ZipFit, which is the major reason why most of us have warm, comfortable ski boots today. Let's dive in and learn more about Sven.
As a prolific boot whisperer for half a century, Sven Coomer made plastic perform without pain, then birthed custom insoles and silicone liners. His designs still resonate with skiers today. By general consensus, Coomer is the most prolific and influential boot designer of the modern era, perfecting the work of the plastic pioneers who preceded him. He first made plastic boots perform better with comfort, then established meticulous, timeless design standards for everyone else to follow. Coomer's achievements include a two-piece, four-buckle overlap design that won hundreds of World Cup events and is still in vogue today, as well as the three-piece cabriolet popular from World Cup downhill tracks to terrain park. He pioneered the high-back spoiler and critically counterbalanced it with an also raised plastic-reinforced tongue that allowed skiers to leverage fiberglass skis. Born in Sydney on October 12, 1940, to a Swedish mother and an Australian father, Coomer demonstrated his elasticity at an early age. At 16, he competed in the 1956 Melbourne Olympics in the sprawling modern pentathlon. Coomer first skied in 1960 in Åre, Sweden, and was immediately smitten. University trained in Sweden as a designer and mechanical engineer, he collaborated with Puma on running shoes in 1965, but would ultimately focus his energy on skiing. He arrived in the business in the early 1970s at a critical juncture, just as plastic boots and fiberglass skis entered the scene, and was hired by Nordica, moving to Montebelluna, Italy. What came next was a series of market-changing innovations, led by the legendary banana boat. Nordica soon achieved an astounding 30% market share. Next, Coomer unleashed the gold standard, the still-beloved two-piece Grand Prix race boot, and later debuted the Cabriolet Comp 3, the open-throated three-piece shell that was also Coomer's basis for the Reichley Flexon, still sold today under K2's full-tilt banner. Coomer would also be instrumental in creating Superfeet custom-molded insoles. Relocating to Mammoth, he would open the award-winning Footloose Sport. More advances followed, including using Birkenstock cork to create the Ski Phonic, the first molded footbed that could be created in a ski shop, and introducing the silicone personalization system and then ZipFit. Coomer lives in Aspen with his wife Mary Dominic and is working on his memoirs. For his distinction as the most influential ski boot designer of the modern era, Sven Coomer earns induction into the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Sven Coomer, having been elected by representation of the 15 million skiers and snowboarders in America, we hereby bestow upon you, on this night in Big Sky, Montana, our country's highest snow sport award, the Medal of Honor. And we confer upon you from this day forward, Friday, March 24th, 2023, induction into the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, where your accomplishments will forever be remembered.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Wow. Am I supposed to bite it? Mary has been my angel that has helped me. Look, there you are. Pia, we skied together. She was on the Italian team in the 60s. And probably many of you here know her name. Pia is just a fantastic skier and a fantastic person. And looks so Italian. But you can say that about so many women. God bless women. Anyway, I had some notes here to read. It's fun to see Alan again. I haven't seen him since, God, a long time in Utah. But it was a really funny show. Making fun of learning to ski and kids learning to ski and tricks and things like that. So to keep this short, because we're getting all sleepy, including me. What does that mean? What knots? The ski boot thing has been such a dilemma for such a long time for everybody. And to get it out of the mud and confusion and just lots of opinions, it took some time. But I should say that my background has been in extreme athletics and the Olympics and so on, the modern pentathlon, if you're familiar with that. That was the most wonderful thing to be doing, especially to be with horses and galloping around in the backcountry of Australia, jumping, crossing creeks sometimes when they weren't bone dry. But I come from my mother was the sports girl of sports in her family, and was very promising for the 36 Olympics in both the track and field. She did everything. And also in the winter, ski racing. Not just alpine, but cross country also. So she was a very encouraging, very powerful wonderful, strong woman. Miss her a lot, but so do many people that knew her when she came here. Keep asking for her. She's up there somewhere. But I really have to owe my experiences to the fortune of meeting some really, really interesting people doing research in athletics in the 50s and 60s that are just, well, this is a little late now, but only recently are being used commonly. The Finnish runners were very famous for their fartlek, or speed play, that they used. And distance, 5,000, 10,000 marathon, nobody could get near them. They ran in packs of 2 or 3 and so on. But there's so many different ways of training in running, and then you get to swimming. And my professor at Sydney University, Forbes Carlyle, you might have, geez, stop fiddling. As Alan says. So Forbes Carlyle came back from the Helsinki Olympics, where he was officially coaching the Australian swimming team, but also competing in the pentathlon. And he wanted to try pentathlon because he wanted to try it himself. He did everything. He ran a marathon and almost died from hydration. And quite the character. My father, on the other hand, was a violinist with a Royal Academy of Music scholarship in London in the 30s. So he's the opposite. He's a sit back and listen, like I do all the time. Taught me to listen. So Forbes and all of these people, there are other coaches along the way that I remember so well because they drilled me in the real fundamentals of floating and gliding. And, well, that's what I learned from swimming, but I learned all from the other sports. You know, in this pentathlon, it used to be a cavalry activity. Officers had to know how to ride any horse cross-country, 5 kilometers. That was the pentathlon event. It's the same actually as in the 3-day event. The second day before the show jumping, they ran an endurance course. So I'm not sure exactly what the format is today, but they ran a format now of just getting on a show horse and going over a couple of jumps in a yard, as we used to say. But it was so complex in those days. Even the astute, fantastic horsemen of the cavalries, I mean, these guys lived with horses. That was their job. They had a tough time putting that into the one single sport, horse riding, and then a whole day of fencing. And that was unique in it. There's only one hit. The guy who makes the first hit wins the bout and closes it, goes to the next pair. It's very difficult fencing. And fence with normal fencers who get a chance to figure out what you are and who you are, and you do this and have this habit. The tactics. Fencing is a fantastic sport for any athletic activity. So, but anyway, was the fencing that used to take a whole day. And then after that it was rapid fire pistol shooting. The carpet, you see the target like that, it comes off in 3 seconds. So you've got to be very coordinated to lift your hand up and shoot accurately. And in the Olympics, some of the athletes were so nervous. I didn't realize that other people got nervous, but I never did. So those are the sort of things, like in swimming and running after that. Swimming was 300 meters, and the running was 4 kilometers cross country. So it was quite a mix. And now they're trying to run the whole show in one day in one place, because the cavalry in that sort of environment, they had the facilities so dispersed that it would take a whole day to sometimes to get there. But once again, ski boots? Oh, what's that? Well, as Billy Crystal quoted one time, I think in his book, one of his books, that he said, "I can't be funny when my feet hurt." Every skier relates to that. And especially